Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca and today it is time to work on my Heaven and Earth design. So this is Mini Beautiful Light by Adele Sessler. So they call it a mini because they do a bigger version. But this does work out at 46 centimetres by 82 centimetres once it's completed, and it has 15 colours. So black and white, you will see the likes of some green diamonds and things in there as well. Don't get put off by that. Black and white do tend to have greens and things in there, as well as your black, white and grey, of course. Right, let me get things in shot, and I'm going to start with the black, of course. It is quite a bold symbol, as well as, of course, being a very contrasting colour when I actually go to place it down. So I find it is the easiest one to start off with, unless I may change it if I get to a section that has a lot more of another colour, and actually counting to where the black is would be hard. But that is definitely not the case at the moment. So get the black, that gets that bold symbol actually covered up with the bold diamonds, which means I'm not fighting with it in any way. So that's that one, and then that one actually goes in the first one. To be fair, these numbers on the Ever Moment canvas are still confusing the heck out of me. Doesn't help that I've been doing chart to art recently that doesn't have the numbers, so that can definitely make a difference. That black actually has an air bubble hole in it, so let's get rid of that and pop in a nice one. I am trying to get rid of diamonds that aren't that nice as I go along. Doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I just work around them and get all the nicer diamonds and then empty out my tray of all the rubbish afterwards. But I've actually been working on Chart to Art Floral. The kitting up will be coming soon. Because if anybody saw my last preparation video for my painting that I'll be working on Sunday, you will know that the decision wheel has a favourite type of painting at the moment, and it will get it one way or the other. So I have kitted up the floral one to sort of work in the background, because I won't be doing that one on a WIP and Waffle, because it is sort of a mystery. I will, of course, when I dekit it, I'll do the same as what I did with my last chart to art. I will give you plenty of warning if it's something that you've got and you don't want to see. Just the last section of the video, I will show you guys what the finished image looks like. But I must say, I've done 2 sections so far. I think it's my favourite out of all of them. Kind of makes me happy that I've sort of saved it, you know, and ended up doing Woodland Winter's Tale first, which I also love doing. However, I think Floral is yeah, it's becoming my favourite. It really is. So it's nice to have that at a time when I don't have the likes of Advent and Christmas and everything else going on. which also brings, of course, its own level of excitement. I can concentrate on Floral Surprise and just love it for what it is. So it's been quite nice working on that. I am still working away at trying to do one paint gem a day. Monday of this week it didn't happen, but it has happened the other days, so I am slowly but surely making progress, and I actually should have that finished. The set, I'm actually not sure if my kitting up for that set has actually gone up yet, because I'm still chasing my tail from December. I try to spread out the types of videos that I have going up. So I think it might be the beginning of next week actually that the preparation for my paint gem goes up. In fact it is, because I had to push it back. I had to push it back a week to have my preparation for my most recent painting to go up, so that I would have that painting to work on during the WIP and Waffle this upcoming Sunday. So yes, it is next week that the paint gem kitting up is due to go up, and I've actually nearly finished that set too, so I'll be back on working on the alphabet. That set, if I manage to get it done every day, it will be finished the end of this week. So I only have, I think, 3 left. I'm filming this on Wednesday, so I have, tonight, tomorrow and Friday night to sort of potentially finish that set. We shall see how it goes. We are away this weekend with my brother. So we have a weekend away with my brother, so whether I'll get Fridays done, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. The idea is to try and do one a day. It's a matter of keeping it sort of in the forefront, keeping it around, that I want to work through some of my paint gem, especially if they keep releasing them. I need to actually get some of my stash completed. I am enjoying focusing on one set. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I think that's what I like about it. I feel like I'm getting somewhere if I only focus on the one set rather than having 3 sets kitted up. There will come a time I'll have a couple of sets kitted up at once. At the moment I've got, of course, Alphabet kitted up alongside my current one. But there will have to come a time probably that I kit up 2 at once, but I'll still work on one and then work on the other. Because the satisfaction of completing a set needs to be there. It needs to be front and centre, because that's what helps keep the motivation going. But I'm absolutely loving the set I am working on at the moment. Whether it's because I've put diamond dust drills in with it, I think it's partly that, and it's partly it's an ideal set for diamond dust drills. It looks so good. I've been enjoying working on that as well. I have been working on doing an extra section of this Heaven and Earth design after I film the WIP and Waffle and before it goes away. Oh, I think I tried to push that drill in a little bit too harshly then. Knocked my tray everywhere. They were all lined up as well. Okay, let's try again. So every time I finish doing the WIP and Waffle, I make sure to leave my painting out until I have finished another section on it. So I finished the end of the row last time. And that's working well as well. I feel like I'm making progress, or more progress, on everything rather than on some things and not others. But yeah, I hope everybody is having a great week. We took my nephews to an interactive science museum in Halifax this last weekend. They absolutely loved it. They were a dream. Yeah, so that was fun. Been a while since we've been there, that's for sure. But they absolutely loved it. That one's also got a bubble. Get out. And yeah, apart from that, catching up on life, etc. this week, as well as, of course, normal orders and things. And yeah, hopefully the year shall continue the same. But anyway, let's get on to comments, etc. from previous WIP and Waffles. So as I'm reading these are comments from 12 days ago. So I'm definitely getting caught up with my new kitted up painting. Depending on time wise, so I'm kind of hoping, cross fingers, to be able to start my Sunday WIP and Waffle either today or tomorrow. And then I'm actually kind of hoping to be able to do a nice long one and maybe get caught up on comments. Though it depends how much I waffle as to whether catching up on comments takes as quick a time as what I think. Sometimes when I scroll through the comments, I don't quite realise how many there are. But we shall see. We can have a goal, even if it doesn't end up working out. We can have a goal. Right, I've got a diamond stuck down there as well. I sort of want to use up these last 4 so that I can tip out these 2 big bits of trash that are in here. One of them is stuck in the tray. Of course it is. There we go. So yeah, comments, etc. So Lady Dax, she says, here's a question, Rebecca. She says, for you and the zesties. She says, when you make a cuppa, she says, which hand do you use to pour the water and which to stir? She says she is predominantly right-handed. She pours with her left while stirring with her right. She says, just wondering if that is the norm. So there's actually quite a few replies on her question. Love the interaction. So there is a few. So there's somebody who is a lefty and they use their left hand for both pouring and stirring their tea. Blossom Chops is right-handed and she pours and stirs with her right hand. However, if she winds a clock up, she holds the winder and turns the clock, which a teacher back in the day told her was the left-handed way of doing it. Love it. Hang on, let me just get those 2 out in the sticks. I am going to get these, but I'm going to get them after. Doroby Punk says she's right-handed and she's not able to pour something into a cup without making a mess with her left hand. So I don't tend to do the 2 same tasks at the same time, personally. I'm not a tea drinker. I know, not very British of me, but I don't drink tea. even when I make somebody tea, I don't stir and pour the water at the same time, because as far as I'm aware, as a non-tea drinker, it is a matter of pouring the water and letting it sit on the tea bag for a while before removing said tea bag. So by then I don't have to do both, because I've let it stoop for a bit. So that's not as much of an issue. With my coffee, which I do understand most people would potentially stir at the same time. When I used to drink a lot of instant coffee back before we could get a decent coffee, sorry, Luna was barking at nothing. Yeah, so back when I drank instant, because actually getting a decent cup of coffee in your house was not as much of a thing as it is now, I still used to do them, I think I'd say separately, and now I definitely do. I actually don't use a kettle. I heat water up in the microwave, milk up in the microwave, and then put in a shot of espresso, because I like my caffeine, I like my shots. So I tend to do that instead. But yeah, I would answer separately, both with my right hand. I can't think of anything I predominantly do with my left hand that maybe others would use their right. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there probably is something. You'll probably get me thinking now every single time I do something all day. Irene, she says, cocktails is beautiful. She says she's happy that I got a finish. Thank you. Me too. I'm definitely speeding through paintings while they are picking small ones. Even my large one was a small one, in my opinion. So yeah, it's good to get some ticked off the list. It definitely helps with my sort of mini goal to complete more paintings than I add to my stash. However, I would like some of those completions to be large ones and them not all to be small ones. But anyway, we will get there. Right, this is where I sort of have to click in black ones. So I think I'm going to do them in twos. These do all fit and they do all sit nice, but they are definitely a tighter squeeze because some of the shapes of some of these diamonds. So I'm trying to make sure that I, of course, don't pick any that are too big, to be able to get them all to sit in here without popping off at a later date. And if in doubt, I do go over them with a little roller. A rolling pin works. I used a rolling pin for ages until I ended up with a little roller. And I think a little roller was an unboxing from another company. It wasn't that I would plan to buy one. It just, I happened to get one with an unboxing and used that. And it's just handier because it stays in this room rather than being in the kitchen. But a rolling pin works perfectly fine. Just to press them down and cement them in, should we say. Okay. Got a little bit distracted then. Right, that's those. And then what's helpful is I can see what's black up above. So I do know that this needs to start here without having to count, which is always good. So that's, no, not that one. That's those three. And then this one. And then I've got one more valid to use diamond, I think. And then we'll get rid of those. I need to fill up my black. I'll fill that up when I am doing my next section, because again, I will start with black when I do that one later. 1, 2, 3. And then I can cross check. I do only have one down here, and I have started on the top of the next square there, which means I got everything in the right place. Grey Legrand, she says, hello Rebecca and Zesties. She says she is completely behind on Advent videos. She says maybe she'll catch up in a few months. She says she stopped watching because she didn't want any spoilers for the canvases. She says so now she is just going to skip ahead, and it's now the last day of January. Love it. Absolutely love it. I think there are a few people that life, of course, has got busy and they've got a bit behind with videos, but it's all good. They're there for when life calms down and when you have the time to be able to catch up again. At least there's videos there when you can sit and dedicate yourself quite a bit more me time. And yes, from time to diamond paint, because it does ebb and flow as to when you can get diamond painting time in, that's for sure. Right, so now I'm just working through my numbers down the list. This is where sometimes my brain goes, oh, it's a full picture one and not a chart to art, because on my chart to art, of course, as I finish each one, I finish the whole chart. The whole chart gets completed because they're set into days. So I keep expecting these to come up with big fat zeros, and of course they don't, because this one is the full picture. So they're not going to be zeros for quite a while. I'm expecting most of them won't be zeros until the last section. We might have one that is beforehand, but I'm not expecting zeros until bare minimum the last row, if not longer. But yeah, I keep having to tell myself that it's not going to turn to zero because I'm not on a chart to art. Right, let me get the next one. Liv, she says, I could do a jigsaw-like concept. She said, so there's pictures that's broken into different pieces to then be able to put together. She said, so a bit like there's a section to dot. She says she's just catching up on this WIP and Waffle after a big day. That's quite an interesting concept. I'd have to see how the canvas could potentially be put together afterwards, because I suppose we do sort of a jigsaw one when we cover up different sections and uncover them at different times. So rather than following the flow of the painting, we have them dotted all over the place and then fill them in as they get closer. But yeah, that definitely sounds like a different, interesting concept, that's for sure. She also says, she has just been having a nosy at some filaments. She says there's some snazzy ones, she says, from the likes of Amazon. Yes, there are. There is a very big range in quality of filaments as well, though. So that is something we have to be very careful of. There are some filaments that can definitely be a lot harsher on your printer. Nowhere near as forgiving as some others, or as kind, should we say, as some others. But there's definitely some snazzy ones. We have a few different ones that we keep trying out that are a little bit different, and then mix them in with some of the normal ones. She also says, she had some drawer units that she didn't like. She said as they were collapsing on her and the stuff that went in them, she said she fell out of love with. She says she wasn't using the stuff. She said so she asked her mum to send it all to be donated. She says decluttering is therapeutic. She says what is one man's junk is another man's treasure. She says now she has more space to breathe. She says her goal for 2025 is to get through her expanding stash and to de-stash those that are not sparking joy. And that is true. And sometimes I think we have to remind ourselves that while, you know, decluttering is breathing and enlightening and all the rest of it, it's not actually the decluttering that makes us feel that way. It is, but it isn't. What I mean is it's not the act of, or I find, it's not the act of giving stuff away that makes me feel that way. It is the gaining of the space back in the house, the ease to move, the ease to put things away. That's what I'm getting the feeling from, not from the act of giving. I do get joys from the act of giving, but in different ways, you know, more intentional to the person ways, rather than, you know, just decluttering as such. And some people may get joy from that, but I think sometimes if you remind yourself that it's actually the fact of, as you said, being able to having more space to breathe. I also find that, you know, once I have decluttered as such, so with the craft room redo, of which there is a new post up, I've spread out the posts. I think on days that I don't have a video, there should potentially, not all days, but potentially there should be a blog post up the days I don't have a video. I decided, why not? Let's just do it on a different day. And I will be filming the completed craft room tour soon. I've not done it yet, but I do have it scheduled in on YouTube, so it will happen. But yeah, if you remember that it's the fact of having the space rather than just the decluttering, it can help you be a little bit more conscious about things going back into the space, and whether things are actually going to serve a purpose for you if you put them into the space. That can really help. We're very bitty with our colours today. Liv also says, she's always early to appointments as she hates rushing, which I agree. And she says Pinterest, she says, is your friend, to see how you can arrange your craft space. She says she set a 30-minute timer, and it's amazing how much you can get done in that time. That is true. It is amazing how much you can get done in a short space of time if you do set a timer, whether it be 5 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it may be, whatever time you potentially have, or whatever time you potentially have the stamina for. Setting a timer can be a really big help, especially if it's something that you know you need to do and you want to do. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you do want to do it, but you can't quite get going. to actually do it. Then sometimes just starting off with a 5-minute timer of, I'm just going to see what I can do in 5 minutes. I'm just going to clear as much rubbish out as I can in 5 minutes. It gets over that barrier of actually starting and makes a huge difference. She says she has 2 boxes. She says one for donations, and she says, and one for keeping items when she's on a declutter mission. She says she keeps far too many duplicated items. See, that is a benefit as well of a small space. If you have very limited space, or at least I found, I'm very much forced to, you know, rethink things a lot sooner than if I had the space to just tuck it away just in case. I just let things go. And it's very, very rare that I'm like, oh, I wish I'd have kept that. To the point I can't even think of like one thing that I'm like, oh, I really wish I didn't get rid of that. I just can't think of one. Which is obviously a good thing. Susan, she says she's so glad that I did this long video. She says it took her 3 sessions to get through it. She says, but it was definitely, she says, keeping her company while she diamond painted her husband's moose. She says she really does like the painting that I'm working on, which was cocktails. She says, and now on to another video. She says, as she is not done with this session yet. She says, thank you so much for sharing. And she did go on to a Heaven and Earth design. She says it was almost perfect timing. She says for this one, for her finishing her session. She says she was able to get through a few of my videos today. And she's now almost caught up, she says, for the current ones. She said it feels so good to be back. She really likes the way, she says, that my black and white painting is looking, which it is. It's amazing how you put all these little bits scattered everywhere and how it looks when it's finished. She says she knows it will be a while before it's finished, but it's going to look amazing. She says, thank you so much for sharing. You're so welcome. It's always nice as well, I think, to have a project that is longer, and you know it's longer. And if you know it's longer from the beginning, when you start it, and your aim is for it to be a longer project, provided you work on it regularly, because that's what made my other Heaven and Earth design get a bit more cumbersome, was when I wasn't working on it regularly. I was fine when I was working on it regularly, once a week. Hence the reason this sort of second WIP and Waffle series started, was because I needed to concentrate excuse me, that if I was doing a big project, I needed to ensure that that big project got a little bit of time every week. It just needed to. Otherwise, it's never going to move and it's never going to end. But yeah, it's nice to have one that just sort of trickles along. And yeah, it gives me the enjoyment of doing this, but it's not a pressure, because this is, with it being a cross-stitch conversion, and the size it is, albeit a lot smaller than my first one was, the actual size of it and the time it takes to do each section can make it extremely, extremely daunting, especially if it's the only one you're working on. Where as soon as you take the pressure off to finish by a certain time, and acknowledge that it's a long-term project, is so much nicer to do. I really, really enjoy pulling this out each week. I really enjoy doing my other section each week. I feel like that's helping it progress and not take like 2 years. Like, it's enough. And if I do have times when I have, I suppose, a bit more downtime, or maybe I'm in between projects and haven't had chance to kit another one up, I can do some extra on this and get some more of it done. And that will work out, you know, that will push the project along. So this will be a finish either at the end of this year or beginning of next, and that's fine. And as soon as I get further down, I know full well I will get more excited to potentially finish. I will start thinking about doing outside the sweet shop. It will more become forefront in my mind that I'm getting close to doing that one, because that's my next project. And then the excitement level will ramp up, and then I'm likely to do more and more until it's finished. Cat Lady, she says she started a new diamond painting this week. She says it was a Christmas present off her sister. Beautiful. She said it's a diamond dots painting. And it's based on the seashore, she says, which seems fitting. She says, as they're now living only minutes from the seashore. Perfect. She says, nice painting with white background. She says, works so well on this one. On Cocktail, yes. It's a good job. I enjoy white backgrounds because my new one has one as well. And I do enjoy the striking way that a white background can look amazing. It definitely has its place. It's a lot more enjoyable than a black background. That one's for sure. A lot more enjoyable to do. Whether I'd rather my decision wheel hadn't have picked two white backgrounds so close together, maybe, but also maybe not, because I do enjoy them that much that I have been more than happy to complete a load of white background ones recently. Sue, she says, just wondering if President Trump put tariffs on UK products yet. As far as I know, no. There hasn't been. Whether it will happen in the future, who knows? Who knows? We will cross that bridge when we come to it. But, you know, it's tariffs. We have to pay tariffs already on goods that come in from anywhere else, even America. We pay VAT, we pay tax on products that come in. At the moment, America doesn't have to pay it up until, I think it's $800, I think, something like that, $800. It's really, really high before Americans have to pay what we call customs on any products that come in to the country from other countries. But it's something we already pay. Say we pay VAT and then customs if it goes over £135, so a lot less than America, but we pay VAT on everything that comes into the UK from another country. So it's something we're kind of used to. But as far as I know, not yet. Yeah, but we'll deal with it if we need to. I'm not going to worry about things that haven't happened. I'm too busy trying to sort out paperwork for EU, because as with some companies, if we just sold, for example, cover paper or just sold trays, we would have to just do paperwork for trays or for cover paper. But because we sell so many different products, the amount of paperwork is unreal. So we are still fighting through it all. And even once we get to the point, I think, of knowing and confirming exactly what paperwork we do need. I pretty much know what paperwork we need, but like it needs completing for everything. But even once we get to that point of actually starting to fill it in, that's going to take a while. At the moment, I'm trying to find the EU representative that is reasonable for the amount of products that we have. Because that is the thing that I'm going to have to pay out for month on month, and that needs to be cost effective. So, yeah, I'm not even going to bother about anything else for anything that's not happened yet. We'll stick with what has. Right, and I actually got to the point of finishing that one. I was kind of hoping to have got another comment or two in, but as I always find with projects like this, it feels as though you've got loads left to do until all of a sudden it doesn't, and you place a few diamonds and the next thing it's completed. But we have the rest of that arch. So if we can see from the picture, I don't think we've yet hit this sort of light part here. I think we are just across this top part here somewhere, so we may end up with some of her head in the next few sections. We'll see. But yeah, we are definitely getting there. It's growing and growing. I can't remember where I got up to on the last one. I think I had got to the top of her head. I'd maybe got the next row down as well before I realised that my doves had lines through them. I'll have to go back and have a look. But yeah, hopefully we will start getting to the point where we are ahead of where I used to be and everything is new. But that's today's done. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll speak to you all again soon.